Everybody's exploring different things. I chose to explore greatness. I chose to explore greatness through foregoing all of the pleasure readily available for a young athlete. I had to give up all the things that probably would have kept me where everyone was at.
What's up, family? My name is Justin Mojavier, and welcome to the Leader Diaries podcast. I personally want to invite you to this journey of becoming the best version of yourself. Because when you stop learning, that's when death begins. On today's episode, we have my brother, Shaquille Quarterman, a graduate from the University of Miami, where he established himself as one of the greatest linebackers in program history. He racked up over 350 tackles, over 46 tackles for a loss, and he will later be drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Let's just say Shaq is one of them ones. Let's crack open his diary. Walk me through your game day. Do you ever feel those nerves when you're about to play the game? And how do you handle those nerves?
I would say the game day nerves that you get, even after preparing for a whole week for this game. My game day comes down to accepting these nerves, accepting this excitement, these emotions, even these thoughts, and allowing them to flow as I get closer to the stadium, as I get closer to the locker room, as I put on my pads, get taped, do the pregame warm up just to come inside before the next time coming back to that field is game time and it counts. So all my preparation is to allow all this stuff to flow. I want to be in the best possible flow state when the game starts. It's a balance of surrender to the fact that you can't control anything, then you're 111. It takes one play to change the outcome of a game, outcome of a season. And we're talking about a year's worth of preparation. A lot goes into a football season.
And for the people who are not familiar with your 111, what does that mean?
So 111 means simply to do 100% of my job, my responsibility to the best of my ability for the success of not just me, but my team. So that's my 111. I'm one player on the field out of my 10 other counterparts. And we all have one job just to do our contribution, not to do the next man's job. And especially in times where resilience is needed. Maybe we're down a little bit or we're having a slow start. It could be human nature to want to critique someone else, right? Or to think you can do your job in someone else's, right? Because you just want to win so badly that we may forget that man, all we have to do is do our 111, right? And that's how we put forth our best product to win.
Talk about the grind it takes to play at a high level.
I remember it. It was this moment. So we getting whooped already, right? We playing this team, Booker T. I forget the running back at the time. I believe at this time it was the son of the late great Kimbo Slice. And they had a left guard who, they run the ball, me and him lock up, right? I don't move too much. He don't move too much, right? And I think that upset him because he got me on weight by at least, 105 pounds, something like that, right?
Jeez.
Maybe not so much, but something like he's an offensive lineman. I'm an 8th grade going to 9th linebacker, right? I think at this time I was weighing 200 pounds. So I was big for an 8th grader. But so he kept going after the whistle, right? Step, put me into the ground and went some more, right? Drove me to the ground, right? At this time I hop up. I'm pissed. I'm emotional, right? And I'm ready to go, right? And this is the story that my head coach, he's seen the whole thing. He telling me. My pops was there, right? At the camp. He watched the whole thing happen. The head coach goes to my pops, my uncle, right? And he says, "You want me to take Shaq out? He been playing a lot. He been playing every play and that, right?" And my uncle looks at him and says, "Watch him now," right? And I'm pissed. So I don't get taken out the game. I stay in the game. And we still get whooped terribly. But when I go back and watch that huddle tape from that time, right, I didn't have the skill set yet. It was a lot of things I would have to learn and grow into. But in the mind, I had already decided that these men were not better football players than me, that they were not so much higher that I would take being that type of treatment. So when you ask me, what does it take to play at a high level, I would say it's a choice. It's a decision. So long as you think my talent that I already have, my skill set that I already have will allow me to walk out onto the football field and just have results fall for me, it ain't going to work like that. If you want to play at a high level, you simply must make the decision to play at a high level. And what does that mean? Well, playing at a high level comes with a certain amount of things. You must naturally find out, well, what's the average level? Okay, well, most people watch film for maybe 30 minutes after practice. They only watch practice. They don't really watch the other team, or they don't go into depth about, well, what can I do to maybe I don't have all the natural born talent, but with my mind, I can make the decision to know more than anybody else knows about the scheme, about the team we're playing. To play at a high level, you simply must commit more. Everything that everybody else does that gets them enough, you simply decide that's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough just to play and to score, but I want to play the game to where I score consistently.
I think everyone wants to be on the high level, but not everyone is willing to make the sacrifice and consider the cost. What were a few costs that you had to take and sacrifice?
I would say simply, man, the Lord blessed me to understand that I had to forego comfort and pleasure to be able to see the reasoning behind subjecting myself to the type of path that I chose. So when I chose to undergo or to forego the things that most children my age were doing, birthday parties, right? And this is a birthday party. Like this is, it's your birthday, right? I'm not going to them. The extracurricular activities that maybe your school had, or just, right, parties, this, that, and the third, I didn't make them. Treating your body like a temple, right? I had to be very cognizant about what I was putting into my body, right? So while I'm coming up through age, along with everybody in my class, everybody's exploring different things. I chose to explore greatness. I chose to explore greatness through foregoing all of the pleasure readily available for a young athlete. I had to give up all the things that probably would have kept me where everyone was at. So it made me lonely, or I don't even want to say that. So I was alone during a lot of this process, but it seems as though that's exactly where you might end up sometimes when seeking out something that you see the vision for, that you choose to be accountable for, and that you have the work ethic for. Sometimes you have to ask yourself the question of how could you expect friends or family to be there when they haven't made the same decisions? I didn't know all the ways that I was choosing to separate my life from the lives of others when I chose to forego comfort and pleasure. But I now understand that purpose is right there. Purpose is the reason that you can forego the pleasures that everybody else has of gluttony, of whatever it may be. Watching that little bit of extra TV, gossip, whatever it may be. Purpose is understanding that not everything is expedient. Not everything is for you.
Mhm.
And that's okay. That's okay. Going, even if you're the only one to go, that's okay.
So, do you believe people can avoid comfort and pleasure and still achieve their desired purpose?
I would definitely say it depends on what that person's desired purpose is. I want to take it back to what we said about how life, or how football is a metaphor for life. You never know what plays in the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter may affect the results in the fourth quarter. But we for sure know, unless we put 100% into the first, second, and third, we may not even have a leg to stand on in the fourth. It may not be close in the fourth. We may be separated from what we wanted by the time the fourth even starts if we don't forego comfort and pleasure of taking a play off. So if you can just add that to that question, you probably get there sooner, man. You probably get there sooner, because then you have to ask yourself, what is this pleasure doing for me? What is this comfort doing for me? And I'm not saying that, we all should be workaholics with no balance. I'm saying these are just things we must understand. And usually we understand them not before doing them. You can't have your cake and eat it too when we're talking about greatness. A lot of the great ones didn't know they were great, right? Or they knew they were great. The whole world was late. Before Usain won the race at the Olympics, he'd already been training to win. to win, right? He was the fastest in the world. And this is my thing. Sometimes I say, man, he was the fastest in the world already, but we just got to witness it in a way in which he broke the world records and this and that, when it was time when it was time for us to see it. But we don't even know the training when he really broke the time. That's greatness, truly. Greatness is really done in the dark, but the Lord will exalt one who understands certain things, who understands the important things, who does the hard things even in the dark with no glory.
It's like the tip of the iceberg. Everybody see the tip, but they don't see what's underneath. They don't see the long nights. They don't see the grind, the preparation. In order for us to grow, we have to step outside our comfort zone. We have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. How was your draft process during 2020 pandemic?
The blessed process, man. I came Jacksonville, Florida, Floridian, went to, the best, come on, better than the rest, the U, Miami. So for me, man, I was blessed, man. I got to play all 4 years, started, never missed a game. They gave me the opportunity to be eventually chosen in the fourth round. But in between those two things, man, I enjoyed my collegiate career. I enjoyed my time with the U. So when I transitioned into training for my so close dream, I had done all I could do for the University of Miami on the field and off the field and being a great representation. But now it was time for me to represent or to represent myself represent myself again with how I prepared for the combine. So just because the season was over, I still have more work to do. And I don't want people to miss that part. Like I still had more work to do. So I train hard. I pretty much put myself in a high pressure cocoon for that process up until the combine. And then after the combine, you just wait till then. Waited patiently, prayed, and I was drafted to my home city, hometown, Jacksonville, Florida. You can't make it up. You can't write it any better.
You have any personal setbacks that shape you to the man you are today?
I try to tell people, especially younger guys than myself, that I failed 1,000 times, but God grant me the strength to get back up. So I've had a lot of moments that humbled me, right? But also taught me, as scary as they might have been, as traumatic as they might have been, that wasn't the end. I heard this and I shared it with you before in person, but I heard this man say, last time I tried, this time I'll be triumphant. And that for me is everything. That for me is everything. If you can come to believe something like that, then life looks different to you. Where the majority, where the average person may see calamity, they may see no hope, they may see no way out. You understand that anything set before me that may look like an adversary for a person like me is only for my good. It will only be to my benefit that I encountered this on this day. And if the Lord allowed me to see the sun tomorrow, that's a clear sign that I'm stronger than that which opposed me the day before. So it's really all in the mindset. So for me, my mindset was formed through a lot of the tragedy around me in my life, the tragedy that I seen, the great efforts that I seen in people who had the biggest hearts I ever seen, but ultimately still find themselves in the process of maturing. Usually before fall, pride strikes. I played all them games in college, freshman year, sophomore year, through senior year, never missed a game. Put up some great numbers, some great film, and did not get selected. Me nor my right hand man who had did the exact same thing as I did. Neither one of us got selected to the Senior Bowl game in college, right? Supposed to be the best college players, senior players going to the league, right? Again, like I said, Usain Bolt, he was already the fastest before he won the race in front of our eyes. He had to believe he could break the world record before he ever got in the blocks in front of our eyes. And at that time, which I would understand shortly after it, after not being selected, I was hurt. I was hurt, man. And it's tough because a lot of men say they were hurt by something out loud. We were hurt by that, man, right? But we end up getting invited to the East-West game. Great game, man. Great game, man. It's been around just as long as the Senior Bowl has been around, right? A great showcase of college athletes going to the league, right? But because I was so close to it, but because I only seen it one way, I allowed that to deter me for a moment, thinking that because I didn't get selected to this game, that somehow my value wasn't where I thought it was or where it should have been. But man, thank God I had some great people around me and the Holy Spirit within me to remind me that the Lord directs my steps, man. We went to that East-West game, had a great game. We started the game, me and Mike Pickney, we did our thing, end up winning that game. And the story goes, I go on to get drafted. I go on to the Lord still allows me to see my dreams come true, even though I didn't go to the game that I thought I had to go to. So what am I learning? What am I learning? What does the Lord want you to see? Control what you can control. And if you so happen to find yourself in a situation that you think is not to your favor, you just ain't looking at it right, you know?
What's the biggest misconception when it comes to NFL players?
There's a very few percent of people who, as soon as they make it to the NFL, they're set for the rest of their life. So usually the first and second rounds, and maybe not even all of the second round, but those picks in those rounds usually have a good financial footing and a good footing with the team. Fifth or sixth is what they call the bubble rounds, right? Mid picks. They come with some stability and come with some investment. The sixth and seventh and undrafted free agents that happen to get chosen by a team, financially they're working to make the team. And most people don't understand, or most fans may not know that. Yes, you may see a guy sign for a four-year contract, but he has to make the team, the 53-man roster every year. Granted, a different type of contract may say that you already made the team, depending on the investment the team had put forth in that player. But that's only so a handful of players. Most athletes' livelihood depend on them making the team each year. It's maybe not until the third or fourth year that you have something sustainable without the type of urgency to make the team. So I would say that's a big misconception that as soon as you get to the league, you're set for life. And just because, your family or friends or hometown may see you on TV, that there's a great chance that they won't ever see you again. There are a lot of players that after that, the average of 2.1 years, they end up back home, figuring out their life, figuring out their next move.
When it comes to leadership, do you believe everyone is called to be a leader?
I think every person is called a leader. I feel like leader gets thrown around a lot, but I would say I think every person is a leader of themselves. If you can't lead yourself, I don't think you should lead others. Because I question where you're leading from. Are you leading from what you think a leader should be? Right? When I think of Jesus, right? Jesus came down as man, went through the life as man, right? To understand the suffering that men go through. And my question would be, or my thinking piece on that is just that why would the Lord do that? Because it was necessary. It was necessary, just to say the least. So for me, when I read that, and so I'm telling you, I go back and back over it. When you ask me about a leader, if we're working with people, you must be great with people. And not saying everybody likes you. That's not what a leader is. That's not a requirement of being a leader, that everybody likes you. In my mind, a leader was once alone at first.
Expand on that.
Without people subscribing to the higher virtues in life, the culture would be negative, right? And if the culture is negative, right? And when trying to be a leader, depending on what you're leading for, people don't believe in the man, they believe in the message. But it takes a little while for the message to be received sometimes, especially when you're alone.
So when the clock hits zero, how does Shaquille Quarterman want to be remembered?
When the clock hit zero for Shaquille Quarterman, I want my family and friends and loved ones to say that Shaquille Quarterman was honorable, and he was a representation of true love, not what the world calls love. No. He was honorable, yo. He subscribed to the higher virtues in life, even if it meant doing it alone.